on, guys? Name's Eddie, in case no one knows, but pretty sure you've seen this car here and there. You know, we don't really do that much with it, you know, but informational video for you guys today on how to install front shocks. Right here I got some Koni yellows, 1038 Sports, and I already went ahead and did the rears, which are 1035, but you guys don't really need a video. It's pretty simple, just a 22 on the bottom, 19 on the top. Pop it out, bust a new one in, and you're good to go. So this video is good for anyone who has an 82 to 86 944 because the housings for the shocks are a little bit different. They changed them in 87 and can't really help you guys there because for this, simple disassembly, unscrew some things. 87s, you gotta chop, weld on adapters, so one thing I'm kind of happy about having an 86. It should be fun. Weld it, good to go. Alright, so one of the main reasons we're going about this today is because a couple months ago I installed some H&R lowering springs. So we don't need spring compressors, but the shocks were already on their last leg, but with that extra stress, they blew out. So now I'm finally getting to it, you know, a little frustrating. As they say, there's 9 ways to skin a cat, but you know, you could probably 2-3 different ways to go about this. The way we're gonna do it today is for you guys that have already had an alignment done on your car. In theory, after it's done this way, you won't need to because we're not gonna be messing with the D-bolt down here, which is camber adjustment for these cars. It's located right here. Yep, that boy. So we're gonna be dropping the sway bar and leave this loose up here. So once everything's been broken on the housing, we'll just drop it and they should be able to drop out of the fender. And because we're not messing with the D-bolt, everything should be at the end as you left it. Alright, 13s. So on top of the sway bar, 17mm nut. If you have a ratcheting wrench, it'll help you out because sockets don't really fit in here, but we're just gonna take the tops off and swivel the sway bar down, and this will all drop out. Oh yeah, it's going. You got another one? Can't get another push? Alright, now we'll get the other jack on the other side. Yeah. Yeah. So we just dropped the sway bar, and now we're gonna go ahead and start taking apart the strut. But you know, old struts, throwing them away. So down here, before you hit it, we have an impact. Ideally, you should have a pneumatic, but can't all have nice things, you know. So just grabbing it with a pair of little vice grips. I don't really care about these, throwing them away after. So, but you do want, if you're gonna keep them, put some protection. I don't know, a rag or something. Try not to mark it up. But yeah, so best to have 2 people if you're by yourself, unless you think you can, you know, control an impact. But yeah, someone needs to hold it down while the top gets loose. Right. Ready, bud?
Yep.
And make sure you pay attention what order all this goes in. Alright, we're good, dude. So on the housing, you got the wires for the brake pad sensor. Make sure you disconnect these before you drop this all, because the last thing you want to do is rip it, you know. And then got a jack on there holding it up. Should just drop down fine. here we go. Also remember, use spring compressors. Be careful, you don't want this flying out, you know. But and perfect. So, top hat, spring out with it. Oh, might need to replace this soon. Yeah. Oh, it needs to be replaced. And here, you know, if you got some big channel locks, in my case, got a nice little pipe wrench. This just unscrews and you're good to go, boys. Quick little tip with the pipe wrench. If you ever feel like it gets stuck, you just press this down, opens it up. And there you go. Grab a little bag in case it wants to start leaking out. Yep, there we go. You know, there's the old ones.
Compress it.
Yeah, that's no bueno. Alright, so now you have your empty housing. Make sure you clean it out because there will be, you know, contamination in there, old fluid, some debris. Shove some rags down there. Make sure you have one that's big enough that when it does go, you can pull it out. I have some pretty long, skinny pliers, but a good idea would have a larger rag. It's kind of a pain, but make sure it's on there and just shove it down, you know. Got my old little broomstick. And just let it soak up. So we got the rag in there, absorb any of that fluid that was on there. And like I said, you know, I got some long, skinny pliers, so let's, oh, go ahead and pull that out. Yeah, get a longer rag if you can. Oh, we got some tear. I bet it's coming. Yeah, there you go. Kind of let it sit there for a little bit to soak it all up. And just double check, you know, visually. It's got a lot of debris in there. So I'll try to fish it all that out with the wire. And we'll get back to you. Alright, so in case you have your doubts about engine coolant, I kind of did at first too, but Koni instructions, 50 milliliters in that housing. If you got something that you can put in a lot more at once, that'd be cool, but you know, whatever works, 50 milliliters. This little syringe, little baster thingy is 5 millimeters at a time, so let's get 10 in there. And of course, when you slide in the new shock, that coolant's gonna squirt out. So just make sure you got something to kind of catch it with. Avoid as much of a mess as you can. And then you're set, you know. The other thing I like to do, you know, make sure all threads are clean. And you pretty much do everything in reverse order, guys. Got a cap on there. And I would imagine, you know, shops that do this, that there's a special tool for this right here. And the instructions say 80 pounds. But you know, if you put a little some strength in it, you know, 80 pounds isn't that much. That should be good. So, and I'm gonna have to change this later because I'm probably gonna have to order it off of Pelican, and that'll take some time, but I will address that. No, kind of just get it in there as much as you can. And now you just slide the whole thing back in, but press a little bit. And let's go use a jack. push it all the way back up. And make sure you align it. You don't want to ruin the threads on this thing because we'll have to buy a whole new one. Right, and of course, you know, with new shocks, they're gonna provide you with new hardware. Good old crush washer, another 22, numbers up. And I'm just gonna hand tighten it for right now. Everything pretty much is in reverse order. Make sure you got some vice grips on the strut. It'll help keep it from spinning. But this time, put some protection over it. I don't wanna scratch all up. I advise you not to use an impact gun because that's what the instructions say. Just to use a torque wrench, but I don't really have anything better to hold it from spinning, so I'm just gonna give it, you know, a quick little pull. I'm not gonna bust it down, just as long as the crush washer flattens out, and then torque it down to 37 pounds. That's what it says on the instructions. So just should be good. Chilling. Now, the process is going to be a little different for me because I already have lowering springs on it, so we didn't need to compress it. But just make sure if you have the OEM ones or the proper length, when you knock it down, you got to take these off as well because you don't want the spring shooting down at you. Compress it and what's good. And a little trick for you guys that do have lowering springs, I'm sure you probably already know. You want the notches on these hats to line up with the spring. So we're gonna get that up there. And this one, it's off. So a little trick that I was taught, you know, instead of just kind of gunning it with lowering the car, just, you know, twist this until it lines up. And you should be pretty much good. Beautiful. Make sure everything connected back. Clip it back on. And that's pretty much it. You're good to go.
Sway bar?
You are correct. That's sway bar on. Sway bar on. We're just gonna twist it back up, both sides. And we're good to go. Should be able to drop the car. Have someone help you out. Slowly come down on the car as well. Make sure it lines up good. Come down a little bit on it, Ben.
That's some lazy jack, huh?
Keep it coming. And you're good. Come down on there.
Oh, just set it?
Yeah. Chilling out. And of course, with Koni Sport Yellows, they're adjustable dampening, so you can change, you know, the feel of your car. Finally got everything put together. Took her out for a spin and everything seems pretty good. You know, nothing alarming as far as shocks go. I got a leak in my brake reservoir, so gotta address that now. But everything seems to be fine. You know, car used to be a lot bouncier with the older shocks, and now everything's a lot more composed. You know, the body roll is not nearly as bad as it used to be. Car, you can feel that it's kind of trying to fight a little bit. You know, trying to stay as flat as possible. So I don't know, it's good quality shocks. You know, that's the way to go. Don't. When it comes to things like that, you know, you don't want to cheap out as much. But Koni's, great deal. I got them on sale off of Paragon Parts. So, you know, thank you guys for watching and hope it helped you guys out. And, you know, hit that subscribe button, notifications, follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. And of course, you know, you get the new shocks. Comes with brand new hardware, crush washer. Some blooper shit right there.